I'm Brittany at Fairfax Pilates. We are excited for today's workout, so grab your mat and let's get started. Hey guys, Brittany here from Fairfax Pilates, and I've got a short and sweet stretch sequence for you to do that will really free up your back. If you're having some chronic back, either soreness or if you're recovering from an injury, the moves I'm going to show you here are just to stimulate some more movement and restore some function, and of course, pain relief. So all we need today is a mat. Let's get started. Okay, so thanks for joining me. We're going to begin with some quite simple stretches. These are everyday stretches that you can do regardless of how your back is feeling, if it is feeling great or if it has some tightness or soreness to it. So let's begin. We'll take one leg out straight on the mat, and then you can just grab behind the back of the opposite knee, and we're going to lay down onto our back. So this here, simply pulling the knee in towards the chest, is a passive low back stretch. So this is great all by itself. There's a lot of variety that you can do here. You can keep it simple, leg just straight in at your shoulder, or you can add a little bit of inner thigh stretch, which again just creates more mobility in the back. I'm going to release my opposite hand, and I'm going to pull my knee out wide. So not only is it going wide, but I'm pulling it up towards my shoulder. Still anchoring both butt cheeks down. I want to keep my back flush with the ground and just breathe. So a couple things happen here. Our low back, of course, is letting go. We're getting a hip mobility, we're getting inner thigh, and the opposite leg hip flexor is also getting a stretch. If you think about any part of your body that touches your pelvis or your hips is going to affect how your lower back feels. So that's sort of the intent of this workout or this stretch session. So just touch and stretch everything that touches and connects to the pelvis. All right, and then we're going to take that same bent knee, we're going to just go across the body with it. Now, you may want to just prop your elbow down and allow your leg to just rest on your hand. I'm trying to keep my shoulders sort of down. I'm not going to be too rigid about that today. Just allow the leg to twist. Now, you can rock and rock out, and then rock in a little deeper and release. I would keep the knee bent if you're experiencing any low back pain. If not, you're welcome to extend the leg fully. Perhaps the foot connects to the ground. You can hold this as long as you like, because this is just a simple sort of beginner's approach to this. I'm going to keep these holds rather short. Palm face up on the opposite hand. You allow that stretch to happen through forearm, bicep, and chest. And then let's bring it back to center. We're going to change legs. So my right leg is now long, and I'm going to hold under thigh. Notice my extended leg. I'm dorsiflexing, meaning toes back towards the knee. That creates more leg here, opening this hip flexor. So I'm actively pulling this knee in towards the shoulder. And then you can add on by opening out to side. Just notice if you relax the foot, notice how it feels differently than if you flex your foot. It's just more active, it's more awareness. And then we'll take the leg across the body. So this is what I was saying. I just propped my elbow on the ground to allow my leg to rest. My left hand is palm up. And maybe this is where you need to stay. And I encourage you, if you've been having some back tenderness, this is enough. If not, your leg can go all the way out onto the ground. And then just breathe. You could hold from, anywhere from 10 seconds to 60 seconds here, noticing that with each breath, you sink a little more heavy into the floor and allowing everything to just sort of relax, which is what we're going for here. And then we're just going to collect the leg and rotate back to the middle. Put your feet down, knees are bent. So a little windshield wiper action with the legs here, swaying left and right. This is a gentle way to stretch the back, and I encourage you in between any of your ordinary exercises that you might be doing, throw this guy in. This feels so nice, it just sort of resets everything in the lower back. All right, find the legs into the center, and I'm gonna scooch my heels in as close to my butt as I can with my knees, and then I'm gonna peel up one vertebrae at a time, creating what we call a bridge. So this is a straight line from your knees to your shoulders. Now, I'm not trying to lift so high that I arch my back. I don't wanna even feel my lower back. And so for you, if you're having some discomfort, maybe your hips are even a little bit lower, and that's perfectly okay. Couple of things. Feel your inner thighs. Your knees shouldn't be open. They should be hugging in enough that the inner thighs are active. Press down with your arms. Feel a little bit of tricep and the opening across the shoulders and the chest. We hold and then melt from the top of the spine down one vertebrae at a time, and then release the pelvis into neutral at the finish. Breathe in, and then exhale, we tilt the pubic bone up, rolling through the spine, one bone at a time, trying to create a straight line. We hold with an inhale, and then exhale, we soften the upper, middle, and low back. Release the tail, finish. One more time. Curving the tail under, and we rise. And slow melting back down, one bone at a time. We're gonna grab behind both of the knees, and I'm gonna allow my knees to be open about hip distance. And we're just gonna rock left and right. So you can take this into sort of a happy baby, which is where you would grab your feet. Your feet might be open a little wider, and we do the same thing. You should really feel that on your lower back. All right, one foot down and then the other. Okay, now we're gonna turn onto our side. Use your mat as your guide. My back is gonna align with the back edge of the mat, and my legs are coming forward. So I'm shooting for a 90-degree line at the hip and also at the knee, meaning I don't want my legs down here. I'd like them up. I'm in an invisible formal seat. Okay, think of it that way. Now, hand goes behind the head, and I'm gonna actually move my upper body a little bit forward so that I can attempt to lay both shoulders down on the ground. So once you get into this position, don't let this leg flare up. Keep those guys together. Just stay here for a moment and breathe. Notice how far your shoulders are from the ground. Now, we are going to stay in this rotated upper thoracic position. That's our upper back. And we're gonna simply crunch forward and back down. Let's get 8 in a row. 2, 3, 4. So we're not doing this for the core workout, although we are getting some obliques. We are doing this for increased thoracic mobility. One more time. Lay your back down, and then maybe notice that you are a little bit flatter to the ground than you once were. Breathe. We're going to extend our top leg out. Flex the foot if you can, and notice how that pulls a little bit more deeply across your hip and your low back. possibly even up into the chest. And if I've got a flexed foot here, I can feel it in my calf also. All right, and then we're gonna stay just like this. I'm gonna scooch my back here a little bit. Laying your head on your arm, I'm gonna take my top arm and I'm gonna reach, I'm rotating my chest forward a little bit. I'm gonna touch on the ground as far as I can. I'm keeping my hand on the floor and I'm gonna watch it as it goes overhead. Palm can flip up when it feels natural, and then try to keep your hand on the ground all the way around to your butt, and then take it back and around. We're going to do that 2 more times, slowly keeping your eyes on your hand. We're memorizing what our body can and should do. Our body is like a giant self-cleaning oven. So we just have to give it the instructions, and then it corrects a lot of its own imbalances if we just re-educate the body how to move. Very smart. Let me go. One more time. So send that arm around. It should feel really good in your upper back, noticing that each rotation you're able to move a little more fluidly. And that's all we're trying to do. That's the name of the game here. As I get older and I see all of my clients and I see how active everybody is and how much pain either I'm in or they're in, all we want is to move, right? You just want to move and be functional always and forever without pain. So, all right, let's bend the knees 90, hips 90. We're going to tuck that upper body forward and we're flattening out that upper back. Notice if this is the same or better or worse than the first side. So just breathing, watch so the knee doesn't float. And we're going to crunch. So we're going forward. So I'm trying to go right over my hip. 2 to 8 here. 3. Notice each time how elongated this oblique gets, how rotated your upper back feels, creating mobility with every flexion. 6, 7, and 8. And then try to flatten out. Yes, no, maybe it's the same, maybe it's better, hopefully it's better. And then we turn to our side. So I'm gonna scooch my upper body back just a bit. Top arm, my legs are together. My top arm's gonna reach forward, touch the ground. And then I'm watching it as it goes back and around as far back as it can go. Feel that in your bicep and your shoulder. We want every vertebrae of our spine to rotate. It shouldn't be a big clump of bones. Each one should work independently so that thoracic spine from our neck all the way down to our tailbone. We have 12 bones. They should all twist individually. I think we have one more here. Take it back all the way around. This is so great too if you're a sports player of any sort where you have a rotation in your sport, golf, tennis, any racket sports, lacrosse, baseball, all that stuff, right? Okay, now let's finish with this lateral stretch. My legs are going to find the edges of the mat and I'm going down onto my back. Arms are going to go overhead as well. So I've created this human X with my body. My arms are going to remain. And I'm going to drag one heel along the floor, passes the midline, and it hooks up onto its other ankle. My lower body is going to continue going that direction by picking up my hips. My shoulders are still flat. And then I'm going to lay my hip down and open the foot. Other leg drags over, grabs hold of the ankle and they go together. We're trying to sort of decompartmentalize the parts of the back, right? Again, they should all be moving independently and individually, so let's test that. And then we go back out. We're going to go one more time here. Over, hook, tip the hips up, and then we're back down. All right, now the arm. I'm going to leave my feet. Taking the arm, it's going to go across my face, and I'm going to pick up my shoulders, but leave both butt cheeks down. And then I open back out toward the letter X. Across with the opposite arm, picking up the shoulders. And back down, one more. Across, and reach. And back down. Across, and reach, and back. Hug those knees in, a little side-to-side action. And now we can go forward and backwards. Little rocking here, and then find your way up. We're going to end here with some low back flexion. Just grab behind the thighs, and then we're going to just scoop. Rock back the low back, and then come up. And I'm dropping my shoulder blades and lifting my chest like I'm shining it up at the ceiling. And then I'm going to curve my lower back, and lift, and final, and lift. Okay, so hopefully you're feeling very mobile, long, lean, limber, ready to take on the day. Hopefully back pain's a little better, and I will see you next time. Have a great day. Thanks for joining me.